chance, everybody. Ok, bonjour, hello. My name is Chantel, and I am doing my Tuesday live stream, which is awesome. I didn't get a chance to do it last week. I was really crazy with the holidays. Plus, you can probably see some stuff behind me. I'm still organizing my house. For some reason, as soon as solstice hits, I'm like, yeah, it's time to clean my house. It's time to rearrange everything and bring in the fresh energy for the new year. And so, yeah, I'm just really thankful to be where I am. The one theme that's kind of been overarching has been gratitude. And so I've just have a lot of gratitude for our technology that I can share in this format, which is really great. I have a lot of gratitude for the home that I'm in, for my kids, and just to be able to share my gifts with, whoever, because I think your gifts is what helps you give back to the world. And so I just wanted to welcome everybody today just by acknowledging the land upon which I am standing on, but I think it's also really important to acknowledge where you are, because again, if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you've been, and you'll get lost. But I live here in Mohkinstsis, which is Treaty 7 territory in Calgary. I am from, or my family's from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, which is in Treaty 6 territory in Saskatchewan. And I'm just really thankful and humbled to live here in Treaty 7. I've been living here for over half my life, and I just really love that sense of community that has been here. Every city, I think, and every area has a certain energy, and there's certain places that really enrich your life, and certain places that give you challenges, and certain places that build community, other places that build teachings. And so this is definitely the place for community building, and I'm really, really thankful and humbled to be here. And so I acknowledge the Blackfoot of Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani, and my elders from those nations. I acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Beaver people who are Sarsi Dene. And I also acknowledge the Stoney Nakoda, which are from Morley, which include Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. I'm also wearing my Métis sash because I'm very humbled and grateful to be walking in the footsteps of Métis Region 3. And as a Métis woman, I feel like my job is to act as that bridge between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. And so I'm just really, really thankful and humbled. A little bit of a scratchy throat today just because I've been cleaning so much and there's a lot of dust. I've been organizing my spices, so I might sneeze a lot today. Lots of, I inhaled cayenne pepper earlier right before I got on, so it was no good. But I'm just really, really thankful for everything. And I honestly think that, whatever you ask the universe for, it will come to you. So you got to watch out what you ask for. If you ask for patience, you're going to get a lot of challenges that show you patience. If you ask for abundance, you're going to, get different things. So, so be really pointed and really specific, sometimes to a fault. And I always laugh because I've had so many interesting coincidences, and I always say, everything happens for a reason, as it does. So after my last live stream, my smudge shell actually broke into 3 pieces, and I had washed it. So maybe it was the dirt or the amount of soot that was actually holding the whole thing together. But I noticed it had cracked, and so that's why I figured, okay, well, if it's cracked, maybe if I wash it, I can see kind of where the damage is. But then as soon as I washed it, I smudged with it once, and then the whole thing fell apart. And so I was like, oh, creator, I need a smudge shell, because I never feel comfortable. I have smudge shells that people can get from me, but I don't feel comfortable digging into there because I don't feel like those are mine. And so I was like, oh, creator, I need a smudge shell. And then sure enough, for Christmas, my neighbor gifted me a smudge shell, and I was just like really, really thankful and humbled, and it's perfect. It's perfect. And so you always have to be very pointed with what you ask for. It's so to welcome everybody today into the circle. I wanted to share, of course, the Cree welcome song, just to welcome everybody in. It's a beautiful way to start the year. It's a beautiful way to start anything you do. It calls in our ancestors, which is such a gift. And it just always puts me back into my spirit, back into my body, back into, my heart. And I'm really humbled whenever I can share it. So I thank the Nat the How family for this song, because it does really bring people together. We sing it in rounds of 3, instead of rounds of 4 like we normally would, to leave the circle open and welcoming so everyone completes the circle today. Because in a circle, we're all connected. There's no beginning, there's no end. No one is greater or less than anyone else in the circle, just like in the hoop of life. So it teaches us to honor each other for those differences. because if we were exactly the same, the world would be incredibly boring, and nothing would ever get done. And speaking of which, we're going to talk about themes this year, themes for your year, and how you set those intentions. And so this song has really been important for setting those intentions for anything that I do. And so Mia Sin, which is the Cree welcome song, I really do thank the Nataha family for sharing this song, because it has brought so many people together. And it doesn't just mean welcome, it also means beautiful. Stand up to sing, please ignore my mess. Mess under my desk too. Mia Sin, Mia Sin, ha semina, ha semina, e petagote, niwa gomagan, hota, homa, kitaskino, miasen, miasen, hasemina, hasemina, e petagote, niwa gomaga, hota, homa, kitaskino, miasen, miasen, hasemina, hasemina, e petagote, niwa gomagan, hota, homa, kitaskino. Hi, welcome to the circle today, everyone. So, my son introduced me to themes that you set for your year ahead, like the intention that you set for the year ahead. And so last year, my theme was sparkle. I wanted to make, things sparkle in my life, in my home, the way that I share. And so I put a lot more glitter in my makeup, because how fun is that? But also in my own life, I wanted to make sure that things were sparkling. And that led me to being really, really grateful and really, really thankful for those things that I saw, and really noticing the beauty in the world, because the world definitely sparkles if you actually pay attention. And by doing that, I was just letting in all of this really good, positive energy, but also creating those spaces for myself to be joyful. And anytime I started to feel a little bit down, I would just think of the things of beauty that were around me. I would look up into the sky and I'd say, oh wow, look at that sundog. Yes, it's cold, but there's a gorgeous sundog in the sky. How cool is that? Or the ring around the moon when it gets really, really cold. Because I am not a fan of cold. I'm not gonna lie, not a fan. But it was really beautiful to notice those things that happen, the way that the ground sparkles when it's coated in snow, even though I don't like snow, not particularly, but it's necessary. And it reminds me, there's beauty in those things that maybe you don't enjoy, but if you notice those little things, you can enjoy those things. And so that was a gift. Sorry, my son is repairing my daughter's sink right now, so good times. This is why you're going to hear a little bit of smashing and probably some talking in the background, so I apologize for that. But also I just wanted my life to sparkle. I wanted, those good things, because I've been giving so much of myself, and it was the reminder that I needed those gifts too. And I put it out there into the universe, and anytime something bad happened, I turned it into an opportunity and made those things sparkle. and lo and behold, I ended up getting a house this year, which I'm so thankful and humbled to have, but also to create space, grow the community. And so this year, my theme is completion because I have the attention span of a ferret and I don't get things done a lot of the time of my own projects. I get things done for other people, but sometimes I forget to finish my own things. So things like the album that I've been working on for quite some time. Oh, hello, Martine. And things like the project that I'm working on with elders. I'm going to get that done this year, as long as COVID decides to cooperate, because of course things have been really hard and things have been put on hold, and so it's like almost an excuse to procrastinate. But no, I'm going to get better about completion. But little things like I have a whole bunch of ribbon skirts that I have been meaning to finish, and so I'm going to start finishing them throughout the year. You know, not overwhelming myself by saying, you know, I want to do a ribbon skirt every day, because that would be insane. That would be way too much time, because it takes me about anywhere between 3 to 5 hours to make a ribbon skirt, which I guess is pretty quick. But I want to learn how to do appliques, and that's going to be thank you. That's going to be a learning curve, and I want to learn how to use programs on my computer so that I can complete my album, and that's going to be a learning curve. And so it's being gentle with yourself when you're going through these learnings, being gentle with yourself when you're going through these teachings, and not overwhelming yourself as well, to be able to take a step back. And so when it comes to completion, sometimes I'm kind of like a wind-up person. Like I'll just go and go and go until things are done. But it's getting started. That's a little bit of a challenge. So to get started and to complete things, that is my gift there. My theme this year is completion. And so that being said, gratitude is a whole part of that completion, because I know that I have gifts that once they're done, they get shared. Once I learn these things, they get shared. And so hanging out with elders and actually learning some things, I know that tradition will be passed on through me. And so it's not just about me, it's about, you know, the community that I hope to share with. And so I wanted to share the thank you song, because it's been in my head a lot, and if I share it now, then I won't forget other songs at the end. And so this is a song that I had learned through, actually I learned it through Jessica McMahon, and a few other people actually had shared it, but it just stuck in my head and it wouldn't go away. And so this is the thank you song. It's saying thank you to our ancestors, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, to each other, to ourselves, to the world around us, to Creator. And so it's just a joyful song of giving thanks. And so in this year ahead, we look back and we say thank you to all of these teachings, whether they be good or bad, that we have learned, so that we can move forward stronger, healthier, and better. Thunderbird song too. Because again, the Thunderbird is, it's like that spirit that pushes us forward. It's fate or destiny. I'm going to share the Thunderbird story as well. The Chickadee story wants to come too. Woo! I love it when two stories want to come at once. Oh, yeah, I want to actually share how to make ribbon skirts as well. So I learned some of the teachings behind it. I'd love to learn more from, I like to learn from multiple people, their teachings behind ribbon skirts, but mine is the way to connect to the earth. And so all of the colors will represent something within your life, within your family, within your teachings. And so it's not just colors that you really like, it's colors that reflect who you are and the path that you're on. And I have multiple skirts depending on what I'm teaching or depending on what I'm sharing, and depending on where I am. So I think that's a gift too. So one teaching that I heard is you have to have 7 skirts at any given time, because you never know when your 7 grandmothers are going to come in and want to wear them with you. So but yeah, I'm going to share the Thunderbird song, and I will share the Thunderbird story afterwards, and then I'm going to share the Chickadee story. So this song has really gotten me through a lot of hard times, because it's really about, moving forward on your path, knowing that if you're getting stuck in ruts and you keep doing the same things over and over and over and over again, eventually the Thunderbird's going to get fed up with you and kick you in the butt on your right path, and that's exactly what's happened to me. So, oh my gosh, almost 10 years ago now, I was hit by a truck, quite literally hit by a truck, not just a proverbial truck, but an actual truck. And it sucked, because I couldn't walk for almost a month and a half. I've had 4 major hip surgeries because of it. But in that moment, I had to go, okay, wait a second. Why did this truck hit me? Not, why did this truck hit me? But why? Why did this truck hit me? What is the path that I need to be on that I wasn't on, that this happened to me? And then I realized that I was going down the wrong path. I needed to be on the path that I'm on now, to be sharing my teachings and my songs and my stories, and to be able to, enrich community. And the path that I was on before, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have been able to in a small way, but not to the way that I was meant to. And so Thunderbird was just like, nope, and put me on the path that I'm on now. And yeah, it sucked getting hit by a truck, but it was the Thunderbird's way of getting me where I needed to be. And sometimes we have to recognize that those really terrible things that happen to us in our lives, they put us where we need to be. They teach us those things and those lessons that we need to learn. And if we keep making those same mistakes over and over and over again, eventually those Thunderbird's teachings are going to get harder and harder and harder until we finally learn. And so, yeah, I honor the Thunderbird when I sing this song. I learned this song from Elder Carrie Moore, but I also remember growing up and hearing it. So this is the Anastasia Thunderbird song. Share the Chickadee song, because I haven't, and the Chickadee story, because I haven't shared that story in a really long time, and I love it, and it's really been crossing my mind lately. And so the song itself, it came through me, so I don't say I wrote it, because It doesn't feel right to say I wrote it. It came through me. But the story itself comes from a long, 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 long time ago. So it's a Cree story. And so a long time ago, there was a couple and their kids. So husband and wife and their kids. They had 3 kids. They had 2 boys and a girl. And the boys had, beautiful, bangs and fringe. And they had like dark jet black hair. And then the little girl, she had her most remarkable feature were her big eyes, because she was always asking questions. She was always curious. She was always getting into everything. And she loved the moon so, so very much. And she had beautiful freckles all over her face. And so this was one of the most, stunning things about her, was her freckles that were everywhere, all over her body, all over her face. And it really made her stand out, along with those really big eyes. And so one day the parents were like, okay, we're going to go hunting. And so they went to their usual spot that they would go hunting. And they saw the bear, and the bear came to them and said, this year there is an abundance of animals, but please only take what you need, because if you take more than what you need, Mother Earth will take from you. And the couple knew, they knew the teachings about only taking what you need, only taking, your share. But somehow, when they went out and they saw these amazing animals that were just huge and in abundance, and there were so many of them, they lost count, they lost track, and they ended up taking a lot more than what they were anticipating or even what they needed. But they thought, okay, well, there's so many, at least we can bring them back to, our nation and be able to share them, to share this amazing abundance with them. And as they were loading everything on, there was a huge tower on their cart, and they were like, well, there's no room for the kids, and there's still more meat. What are we going to do? And so the husband and wife decided, okay, well, I guess we're going to leave our kids behind. And so they explained to the kids, okay, there's meat here for you. There's lots of snacks, lots of berries, lots of pemmican. We've been, stocking up for a while, but just make sure that you remember your teachings. You never go out at the height of the day. That's when you go back into the teepee and you eat, because when your shadow disappears, you might disappear as well. And the kids just thought that was just their parents' way of getting them home to eat. But they're like, oh, okay, sure. We'll remember that. And then they, of course, reiterated to the kids, okay, and when you go out at night, when the moon is at its highest and you lose your shadow, you don't want to be out then as well. So you should be in bed sleeping by that point. And they thought that was just their parents' way of getting them in bed on time. But they said, of course. And so they waved goodbye to their parents, and they had lots of snacks, and then they went to sleep. That next morning they woke up, and the boys were playing, and the little girl was like wandering around like she normally does. And then the sun started to get high in the sky, and they knew they had to come back. And so they yelled for their sister, sister, come back, it's time to come back. And so they were running towards the teepee, because they had gone out quite far, and they made it just in time to watch the shadows of the trees disappear on top of themselves. And they said, oh, we made it. And so they ate lunch, and then again they wandered further and further and further away from camp, because they were always really, really curious. Without their parents there to keep them in line, sometimes they went a little too far. It was getting quite late, and they came back to the teepee. They had their supper. They had gone so far that they were pretty tired. And so they had a good rest. But the little girl, who was quite curious, she woke up in the middle of the night. She heard the wind howling, and it sounded like it was calling her name. And she wanted to see who was calling her. So she walked out of the teepee and she said, who is calling me? Who is calling me? And she continued to wander further and further and further, thinking that she heard the voice on the wind, until she got so far that she entered a part of the forest, a clearing that she had never been to before. And she looked up in the sky, and the moon was getting higher and higher and higher. And she knew that the moon was about to hit its highest point. So she started running back to camp. She ran as fast as she could, And soon she didn't hear her feet hitting the ground. She heard nothing but silence, and the wind rushing past her face, which felt so beautiful. But then, as she looked down, she realized she wasn't walking at all. She was flying. And she looked over her beautiful arms, which now turned into beautiful wings, with all the same freckles that were all over her. And she knew that she had been taken by Mother Earth. And so She panicked and she tried to fly back to her brothers and she tried to get into the teepee, but of course the flap was too heavy for her because she wasn't human anymore. But she was exhausted, and then she finally fell asleep in a tree as she watched the sun come up. And the next morning, the boys came out and they were looking for their sister, and they were like, "Where is she? Where did she go?" And so they wandered further and further and further away from camp looking for their sister, but they couldn't find her anywhere. They were looking so hard and looking in so many different places and went so far that they ended up in the same clearing, not knowing where they were. And then they realized as they looked up at the sky that their shadows were about to disappear. And so they ran back as fast as they could. They tried to run back as fast as they could. And so their arms were just flailing until they realized that their feet actually weren't touching the ground anymore. And as they looked over their little wings, their arms, which had turned into wings, they realized they were fluttering and not running at all. And they looked at each other, and the only thing that was recognizable about them was their hair, their beautiful bangs, and their jet black hair, which looked like little caps. And so they were panicking, and they tried to talk to each other. One of them said, "Chickadee dee dee dee," and the other brother said, he sounded weird, and so he tried to talk back, "Cheeseburger," but that's all he could say. And they continued to talk and call and try and find their voices, but they couldn't find them. And so they kept looking for their sister, and no matter where they looked, no matter how high or low they looked, they couldn't find them. And so they finally wandered back to camp, but of course, as little birds, they couldn't open the teepee flap. So they picked at the meat and ate what they could. And then eventually, as the sun was going down, they were exhausted from their journey and fell asleep. The next day, their parents came back to the camp and couldn't find their children anywhere. They looked high and low for their daughter and their sons, but they couldn't find them anywhere. All they kept seeing during the day were these funny little birds who kept talking to each other, and never talking over each other, but always talking to each other. And they thought, those are funny little birds. They almost look like our sons with their haircut. And they kind of laughed it off, but then they realized that their sons were nowhere to be found, nowhere to be seen. And they wondered, maybe Mother Earth did take our sons. And then they thought, no, that's just silly. Maybe they'll come back in the morning. And so they went to sleep that night. And then they heard something on the wind. It sounded like somebody calling them. And as they came out of the teepee, all they heard was, "Woo-hoo, woo-hoo." And they looked up in the tree to see this beautiful bird looking down at them with these huge eyes. And they thought, those eyes remind us so much of our daughter. And she called again softly, "Woo-hoo, woo-hoo," trying to say, "Parents, it is me, it is me." But the closer they looked, they kind of saw similarities, and they thought, no, that's just silly. How could our daughter have been turned into a bird? That's just funny. And so they went back to sleep, and they woke back up the next morning, and they saw these silly little birds again. And as they got closer and closer, they realized that those were their sons. And they were so upset, but they knew that Creator had turned them into these animals for a reason, so that we could teach children to listen and to always come home for lunch. And then when they woke up that evening after packing up their cute little sons, now cute little birds, into a pouch so that they could take them home for the journey, they waited until night, until they knew their daughter would come out. And as they came out of their teepee with the little birds sleeping in the little pouch, they looked up into the tree, and sure enough was that big, beautiful bird with big eyes watching them. She soared down silently and landed at their feet, and as they looked closer, they saw all of the beautiful freckles, and they knew that indeed was their daughter. And so they held her in their arms and to their heart, and they knew that Creator had taken her as well, but for a purpose, to teach us and guide us how to find ourselves in our way home in the evening, and that wisdom of the owl. And so from that point on, parents always told their children this story, so that the children always knew when to come home and when not to leave the home at night. And so this is the Chickadee story and the story of the owl. And so I'm going to take a sip of water and then I'm going to share the Chickadee Song. So normally I do the Chickadee Song as a call and response, but I'm actually going to sing it all the way through. Oh, I broke my water bottle. There we go. Yeah. And so you can kind of learn it. And then if you're ever in person with me, we do it as a call and response. So this song actually came through me in ceremony. So I was in a sweat lodge and I was asking for a song. And there was all of these chickadees gathered around the sweat lodge, which I thought was really adorable because they're so cute. They're like the most curious birds. And I thought, oh, hello chickadees. And so I kept hearing them talk to each other like, chickadee-dee-dee, cheeseburger. And as they were talking to each other, every time we would open the flap in the middle of rounds, you could hear them talking to each other. It's like they would wait until we opened the flap and then they'd start talking again. But the third round, it was so incredibly hot that everybody left the lodge. I mean, I was sitting in there, but then these cute little chickadees started coming in and out of the door of the lodge and just looking at me and going, chickadee-dee-dee, eat burger, and just talking. And I'm like, oh, so this is your song. And so that fourth round, this song came through me. And so, yeah, I'm just really, really humbled and thankful for the gift of this song. And so this is the Chickadee Song. Grab my drum and slide my chair. I'm going to share the healing song. Just because I know for the year ahead, we've gone through so many hard times for the last couple of years, and I think it's important to look to the year ahead as a time of healing, a time of growth, and really acknowledging the hardships that we've endured. And it's been hard on all of us, not just the people who've gotten sick, but the people who've been having to be caregivers, who have really had to shift their way of being because of just the changes. And it's mentally exhausting to do all of these changes and all of the somersaults with are we restricted, are we not, are we like just keeping up with everything is exhausting, and that can be mentally, we need some mental healing for sure, as well as emotional healing, because we miss connecting with people. Spiritual healing, because we miss connecting with Creator, especially in ceremony. We can't have those big ceremonies like we used to. And physical healing, of course, because some of us have gotten sick. Some of us are waiting for surgeries that might never happen because of all the postponements. And so this healing song is for everyone. It used to be a ceremonial song, but all of the elders that I've learned it from have said, now is the time where we have to come together and we have to heal together as a community fully and completely. And so when we sing this is for everyone. So this is the healing song, also called the crying song or the wailing song. We sing it in 4 rounds. With the 3rd round, we actually stop drumming. And in that silence, that's the invitation for you to ask for the things that you need in your life, the healing that you need in your life, the healing that you want to send to other people in your lives as well. And so it's a gift to be able to share that and to set that intention. And so, if the tears come, tears are healing. So don't ever apologize for your tears, but be grateful for our tears. And so this is the healing song. So, I wanted to share a couple more songs before I go away. So one song that I am anticipating recording for my album is the Ancestors song, the Ancestral bird song, which again, it came through me, through my guide, who is the blue jay, because they're loud like me. Just kidding. And a little flashy. No, just kidding. No, they're amazing how they take care of other little birds. So if they warn people or warn different animals if there's a predator coming in, they keep watch. They're pretty amazing creatures. And so I wrote this kind of for them, for a project that I was doing with Audrey Lane, which was called The Wild Constructs, to really honor the weaselhead and all of the teachings that the weaselhead holds. And the animals have so much to teach us. The plants have so much to teach us, and the birds have so much to teach us about finding our voice. And so, this is the Ancestral bird song. he's expecting food, so I think I have some stale bread I'm gonna throw out there for him tomorrow. And so, yeah, it's just a gift to be able to see them, to be able to learn from them. There is the couple of magpies that like to jump in front of my window when they know the cats are sleeping in the window, and it's hilarious. Because one of my cats isn't the smartest, and he keeps jumping at the window, and the magpies are just laughing at him. So I wanted to share another song, but this song, what song do I want to share? Let's do the bear song. I've been thinking a lot about the bear. Now is a season where hopefully they're mostly hibernating, and lucky them, because it's been really cold here in Mulkinstas, and it's been really resilience. Fly represents resilience. Oh, I guess so. Those guys are persistent little buggers. Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it, Laura. So this song, yeah, is for the bear. So it was funny because this year was a really weird year for the bear. Usually when I go fasting around the fall, I can usually see them starting to get ready, and they were out and about like nothing was happening. It's like they weren't barely getting ready for winter, which was so weird. And so I didn't get a chance to see them, to see what the winter was going to be like. And so I'm not sure if maybe, you know, the month after they had like really bulked up because it's quite cold now. So they very well may have. Or maybe they were just looking or getting ready for like short bursts of cold. So that seems to be the case right now. And so this is the bear song, just to honor the teachings of the bear, the teachings of community, the teachings of connection, of knowing who you are and the gifts that you have to give to community. Because of course the bear can only be the bear, and that's the teaching to us. Can only be ourselves, and it's a gift. So this is the Anishinaabe bear song, which, oh my gosh, learned it through so many people in so many different ways. And so I teach the community version, which is easier to learn and to teach, and it's about joy, and it's about embracing all of the teachings that the bear has for us. And the bear also teaches us timing, to know how to pick our battles, when to walk away, but also when to prepare for the seasons ahead. And just like now. So this is the Anishinaabe bear song. And so I just wanted to leave everyone with this song, which is the traveling song. It's so that you have a good path ahead, a good road ahead. The traveling song is teaches us that, you know, all roads are meant to be walked upon, and that all of those teachings are there for us as long as like we reach out and we can get them. But it also teaches us that home is where we make it, community is where we make it. And so it's a gift. It's not about the destination, because time isn't linear, learnings aren't linear. You have to come back and you have to cycle back to them. So it teaches us about that journey, and really about honoring that journey and embracing the joy and embracing, you know, sometimes you have to have those bad days so that you can really appreciate the good days. And this is truly what this song really honors and represents. And that, you know, if it's meant to be, it'll come back to you, it'll happen. And that's really the way that this song has been in my life. So I learned it from my elder, Sharon Prue Turner, and I miss her so, so much as she passed several years ago. And when she passed, I thought that I would never hear this song again. And sure enough, when you're on the right path, you know, you end up connecting with people. And I wish this song was shared with me again. And I was like, I know this song. And it was like Sharon was there with me. And so now every time I sing this song, I feel her with me. And so this is just a beautiful way to say, not goodbye, but I'll see you soon. Because we don't really have a word for goodbye in a lot of our languages. Usually it's like see you later, or be well, or until the next time we meet. And I can't wait to actually learn my languages, so because that would be amazing. And so this song has just really been instrumental in that reminder of when things are meant to happen, they will. So don't force things. Let that path unfold in front of you. So this is the Anastasia traveling song. May you be well. May you have a wonderful week. May the path ahead and the year ahead be beautiful. And just remember to take that time to learn the lessons that are coming to you. You know, don't stress about it. Just be like, okay, this is the lesson. This is why all these things are happening and stacking up in front of me. So, and this is how you can really smooth your path out as well. So this is the traveling song. Everyone. Hi. Thank you so much. I will see you next week. And yeah, I just appreciate everyone. I appreciate the ability to be able to share. And again, just make it a year of gratitude. Be so thankful that, you know, we have a home, or we have internet, or we have food. Like every time I cook for my family, I'm so thankful that I can do that. Because I know where I have been before, and I know where I am now. And so this is why I'm very grateful for the path that has led me here to this moment. And it's been following my path and being able to share. So, magwitch everyone. Thank you. Hi. Yeah, if you have a theme for the year, let me know. My theme is going to be completion. We'll see how that goes for me. Maybe I'll get it done. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful week, and I will talk to you soon. Hi.